The Opinion with Michael J. Today it's patently obvious the conservatives et al. Et al. Includes partisan followers, have lost their way and misunderstand the term Canadian unity. It's rather interesting that we had a leaders' debate only a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago maximum. All three leaders going to work together in unity. The House of Commons has been open for debate. Not for long. But here's the thing. I don't know what is wrong and why the conservatives et al. Cannot live in the present and deal with the present, because the Canadian unity is an issue that is present at this moment in time, and we need to deal with issues in the present. But they keep bringing the past forward like a heavy anchor to weigh you down, divide you. They create anxiety by going into the future and making forecasts that arbitrarily are just conjecture, have no merit whatsoever. Nonetheless, people buy into this because people are easily distracted. So, what we're going to do here is focus on, we've got Mr. Pierre Poilievre and this girl Jasmine Lane. Nice girl, wonderful gentleman. We're not here to be creating any characterizations one way or another. What we're trying to focus on is the conservative partisan ideology of its followers and its leaders, and how they do a masterful job of conflating opinion as fact. And this is where you people really need to ground yourself and use some critical thinking. So let's look at this, but before we do, look in the description. Carney admits it's too hard to build in Canada. Like, who comes up with this stuff? And then hyphen because of the Liberals. They destroyed Canadian industry. Oh, did they? Let's be clear. There are many events in the past from leaders of all stripes, from people of all stripes that have contributed and brought us to where we are now. And we only live in the now. And then you're told now they're gaslighting you about it, and Daniel Smith slaps down Carney's delusion. So, all this conjecture, all this subterfuge, and our arbitrarily derived hypothecations that serve nobody. Let's live in the present. We need to fix the present problems. So here we are. And then let's look at the headline. Poilievre rips apart Carney's narrative. Then Liberals admit massive contract fraud. So let's see what's going on here.
He made a very interesting admission. He said that Liberal laws make it impossible to get anything built.
That is patently false. That is your interpretation, Mr. Pierre Poilievre. And for whatever reason you feel it necessary to project it to the Canadian public and your followers. And this is why you lost your riding in Carleton. not because of the 99 or 90 people that were on the ballot. Everybody that was on the ballot had the same issue, but you lost by a resounding, you were rebuked by over 4,000 votes. You did not pay heed to that, did not adjust accordingly as a result of that. You continue with this mega Maple North conjecture that just riles up your following, that has split Canada and decimated the NDP party. Let's be clear. Jagmeet Singh did not decimate the NDP party. Mr. Pierre Poilievre did by dividing the country so much that it became a two-party race. And it's as simple as that. Let's not deviate from the point I'm making here now.
And his solution to that is to allow certain politically favored projects to break those laws.
Like your notwithstanding clause intention? Right. How hypocritical can you become? How hypocritical did you become? And the fact is you're maintaining that position. Your intention is not for Canadian unity. It's what, June the 8th. And look at the representations you're making, Mr. Pierre Poilievre. You're supposed to be a leader of people. This is not the way you lead people.
So he'll say you can go around the terrible laws if you are politically favored.
It's like I always say, in order for the Liberals to smear the Conservatives, they have to make up a lie. But in
Oh, it just gets juicier as the world turns. Miss Lane, everybody appreciates your efforts, but can we just stop conflating opinion to fact just to substantiate your mind? What you've created in your mind, you're dividing people. This is a time we need for Canadian unity for all peoples. All peoples.
In order for the Conservatives to smear the Liberals, all they have to do is tell you the truth. And Pierre Poilievre does a pretty excellent job of humiliating the Liberal government by doing nothing other than speaking cold, hard facts. A contractor is also banned.
Well, I'm going to put an opinion out there, and all Mr. Pierre Poilievre has done is humiliate himself. Because for a guy that said, I'm going to help the Prime Minister unite this country, Mr. LeBlanc of the Bloc Québécois said the same thing. And we're seeing where they are. They're just separatists. Both parties, Conservatives, because they've landlocked themselves in Alberta now, Stephen Harper, Pierre Poilievre, Danielle Smith. It's right there in front of you, folks.
And from operating within the government for a period of several years, even though the law would suggest that they should have actually been in prison for at least 2 years.
And here's another thing of conjecture. We're taking white collar and anybody that's in that business of enforcement, of being a peace officer and white collar crimes. They think a lot like that as well. But unfortunately, the law is not structured that way under common law as we know it. So let's not waste our time with that. But let's understand one thing, that government contracts and why we have issues like with this government contract and why this contractor was put on a do not use list for 7 years is organized crime. And that's an issue around the world. It's not exclusive to Canada. It's here in Canada. It's a worldwide issue and that needs to be focused on. because that is a problem.
Given what they did, you may be very familiar with this case, and we'll talk about that a lot more. I'm Jasmine Lane. This is Over Opinionated. Subscribe, follow, like, share, comment your thoughts down below.
My thoughts? Over opinionated? That's an understatement.
Also, Mark Carney has announced his big, beautiful economy bill, and even those in Senate are finally starting to take note that Mark Carney has no plans at all to unleash Canada's economy and make us just this huge superpower. What he does plan to do is eviscerate what we have left. All that and more coming up.
Eviscerate what we have left? What are you talking about? Come on, girl. Shake your head. It's June the 8th. And already you're setting yourself up for failure. Yes, ma'am. You are setting yourself up for failure because you're trying to predict the future based on the present. We don't live in the future. We only live now.
Today on Over Opinionated.
So how did the government go so wrong with the ArriveCAN app contracting and development, and do you take responsibility for those failures?
There continue to be ongoing investigations, both external and otherwise, into the contracting process. It is obvious that the contracting process rules were not followed.
So that was a True North clip. Pierre Trudeau. I thought Pierre Trudeau resigned. He did.
I want to say that this is a win, but it isn't really. It's just better than nothing, which is kind of just like another day in Canada at this point. Larry Brock posted this earlier today. Our Conservative team's diligent prosecution of these fraudsters has paid off. GC strategy.
Oh, really? So this is a statement from the government of Canada. Nothing to do with Larry Brock. It's just a statement from Government of Canada based on their findings. Now, Miss Lane is inferring, I guess, that Larry Brock should take what? How would you like to put this? He should be the one that uprooted all this corruption? If it makes his head feel good.
Strategies is finally banned from doing business with the federal government for 7 years. So GC Strategies is who was behind the ArriveCAN app. And turns out that they had a lot of conflicts of interest. There was some shady stuff going on there. And indeed, they have been banned from working with the government for quite some time now. The thing about this that's kind of interesting is that under Canadian law, what they should have actually had happen was to be arrested. But I mean, everybody knows in Canada that unless your crime is that of having an opinion that opposes the public narrative.
Listen, if you want to compare to the United States and why a lot of companies in the United States register their corporations in the state of Delaware, we can get into another lengthy conversation about this, okay, Ms. Lane? But we're not going to go there.
You don't get arrested for literally anything in this country.
Water bombers won't put out most of once a fire's out of control, but you could stop it early if you could, because the nature of 21st century fire is very different from 20th century fire because of the climate crisis. It's changed fire behavior. It's made fires much harder to put out and much more dangerous for communities.
So there is some truth to that. Yes, indeed, fires are worse in 2025, but is it because of climate change? No, actually, the lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Hold on. This lie detector test you're using, where'd you get this from? Like, this is just nothing but bullshit. You know, it's an interesting dichotomy between government contracts, corruption, and climate change. And I'm going to point out the fact that conservative Republicans want to just do tax cuts and cut governments. They claim the government waste. They've got to cut government. Cut. And they want to give tax cuts, which bloats the operating budget of any sovereign entity. So that's the issue. Conservative Republican issues are solved by cuts, cuts, cuts. Now, if you need, let's just listen a little further here before we get further.
Wildfires, sure, they're burning a lot right now, but it's certainly not new. Canada has had many major fire years dating back to the 1980s, actually. The one thing that has changed, though, is not the climate almost at all. It's actually just mismanagement. One of the real reasons why fires blaze out of control is due to lack of forest management, because it's too expensive, to do controlled burns, to clear out the brush. Those types of things used to be a routine.
Oh, it's too expensive. Now, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. You're saying it's too expensive, but yet you want to cut because there's too much waste. Like, those are conflicting points of view that just make no sense. So you want to cut, but you blame all these issues on we don't have enough support. And in order to have support, you got to spend money. So it's got to be the dumbest thing I've heard in my life.
And now they're actually quite rare thanks to overregulation and also lawsuits from environmental groups and government red tape. And so, it's one of those things people say all the time. I live in Manitoba, so there's really bad fires here right now. We had 2 people who lost their lives in it just a few weeks ago, devastating in the community that my parents are from. And Indigenous communities have been warning about this for decades, and nobody ever listens to them.
And the Conservatives have not listened. No government bodies listened. And one thing about it, I had a guy I knew, it was back in the 1990s. Second time in 100 years, they had a major, all the world religious leaders got together for the second time in Chicago. And after the event, and Dalai Lama, various other people were there. And this person said to me, Michael, the most interesting individual I met there was an Indigenous leader. So to understand that the Indigenous way of life is in harmony with man, nature, and the universe. And the white man has come along during the Iron Age, the Industrial Revolution, and stated their way is the best way. Now that's open for another conversation, which we're not going to discuss here. We're just bringing up points of interest, and that's all. That's all, folks. Bugs Bunny. That's all, folks.
Also don't have nearly enough resources. We don't have enough firefighters, planes, boots on the ground. Fire crews have been stretched incredibly thin since 2023. Recruitment is still a really big problem in the vast majority of areas.
Conservatives just want to cut
services. A lot of skilled people left because of vaccine mandates and because of underfunding and incredibly...
Underfunding, yeah. You want to cut? We're not going to discuss vaccines because that's a very contentious issue. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. You just need to find a good balance. But nonetheless, you bring up underfunding. But here's the issue, and this is the most important issue out of them all. Whether it be the affordability issue, whether it be a climate change issue, whether it be government services to support in the combating of these issues. We'll call those the field of events. And let's take the last 60 years. All the human being has done in North America is continually punting those issues downfield, hoping it solves itself, which is just insanity. No critical thinking whatsoever. And now here we are in the present, and we're dividing people over this exact same issue. We just had a leaders' debate not too long ago. Conservative mandate is cut, whether it be tax cuts, cut the size of government, which means service cuts, etc., etc. So we need to deal with the present, fix in the now, in the present. And that means investing in ourselves and believing in ourselves. And that's where Canadian unity comes into place. We know for a fact July 1's the deadline day to try to have all barriers from the west coast to the east coast of Canada removed so that we can make up for a lot of this tariff issue that we're dealing with around the world. July 1's going to be tight, but all efforts are going full force in that direction. And that's where we need to start understanding that we need to collectively get behind that movement, get these things done. We've got to be careful of the rhetoric we listen to, use discernment. And discernment is very important to make any decisions. Don't just take somebody's word for it. Use discernment, use critical thinking to understand what is best for you and what is best for everyone, because both are part and parcel to each other and very important. So we're going to leave on that note. Love and peace to everybody. Comments in the comments section. Take care. Talk to you soon. Ciao for now.